In this video, you will learn how to solve this geometric progressive question. We are asked to find the nth term of a GP with A, the first term equal to 5 and the common ratio equal to 2, B, the second term equal to 1 divided by 4 and the common ratio is equal to half, C, the sixth term is equal to 243 and the common ratio is minus 3. And the first term is equal to 1 divided by 6, while the common ratio is R. All of these, you are required to find the nth term of the GP. Now, how do we go about this? Now, I want you to remember one great rule, that in any GP, the first term we know as T1 can be equal to A, and that is the first term of any GP. Now let's bring it out. Our T2 will now be equal to AR, because we know that our general formula for AP is AR n minus 1. So if our T2, our number of terms is 2, we put 2 into that equation. That will give us AR2 minus 1, which is equal to the AR. So our second term is AR. Now the third term of any geometric progression, T3, will be equal to AR to the power of what? 2. Now how do we get that? We're going to have AR n minus 1. While the number of terms is 3, we'll have AR 3 minus 1, and that will be equal to A to the power of R squared. So you see, and on and on and on, we can continue just like that until you get the nth term, and the nth term is equal to AR n minus what? 1. So that is the series when it comes to a geometric progression. Now, in the first question A, we are asked to find the nth term of a GP if the first term is equal to 5 and the common ratio is equal to 2. So we are given the A part. We are given our first term A to be equal to 5, and we are given the common ratio to be equal to what? 2. So what will our nth term be? The nth term, Tn, is equal to AR n minus 1. So that will simply make our nth term, Tn, to be equal to 5 multiplied by 2 all to the power of n minus 1. And this remains the nth term of that geometric progression. Now let's look at question number B. In question number B, we are asked to find the nth term. We are asked to find the second term, the nth term, if the second term is 1 divided by 4 and the common ratio is 1 divided by 2. So let's look at that. We are asked to find the nth term, Tn, we don't know. And we are given the second term, that is T2, to be equal to 1 divided by 4, and then we'll have our common ratio to be equal to 1 divided by 2. So how do we go about that? Now remember the second term of a geometric progression. We say the second term is AR. So we'll go back to the second term. If we are given the second term of the geometric progression, T2, to be equal to AR, so that means T2, which is given to us as 1 divided by 4, can be equal to A multiplied by 1 divided by 2. So this will simply give us 1 divided by 4 multiply or equal to A divided by 2. So if we simplify that, we are going to have the value of our A to be, if we cross multiply, 4A is equal to 2. And if we divide both sides by 4 to find the value of A, we are going to see that the value of our A, while this clears this, will be equal to 1 divided by 2. So if a is equal to 1 divided by 2, we can find the nth term. So remember that the nth term, Tn, is equal to Arn minus 1. And remember that we said that is the what? The second term. So if we find out that the nth term of that expression will now give us what? That nth term, Tn, will now be equal to, the first term is 1 divided by 2 multiplied by, what's the common ratio? 1 divided by 2, all multiplied by n minus 1. Now remember a law of indices, that if you have a to the power of x divided by a to the power of y, this can be equal to a to the power of x minus y, right? So that means this expression can be expressed that same way. So if we express this expression that same way, we'll have the value of our Tn to be equal to 1 divided by 2 multiplied by 1 divided by 2, right, all to the power of n divided by 1 divided by what? 2, all to the power of what? 1. So if you take that, this whole thing will give us, will now give us Tn to be equal to 1 divided by 2 multiplied by 1 divided by 2 to the power of n. While this is division, this will be multiplied by 2. So if this clears this, the value of t, or the nth term, will be equal to 1 divided by 2 all to the power of what? N. And that is the value of the nth term in the B question. Now let's consider the third one. The third one says we should find the nth term of the GP if the system is equal to 243 and the common ratio is negative 3. Now let's consider that. We are given the question C, and in that question C, we are given the sixth term, that is T6, to be equal to what? 243. And then we'll have our common ratio R to be equal to negative what? 3. Now let's solve that. We are asked to find the T what? We are asked to find the Tn. We don't know the Tn. So remember from our basic this GP, law of GP, T6 will be equal to AR. Remember, number of terms is 6, so this will give us what? AR 6 minus 1, and that will be equal to AR to the power of what? 5. So that means T6 is equal to AR to the power of 5. Great. Now we are given that T6 is 243. So that will give us what? That will give us 243 equal to, we don't know our first term, multiplied by negative 3 multiplied by what? By 5. Good. So if we simplify this, we'll have this to be A multiplied by minus 3 to the power of 5 is going to give us what? Is going to give us a negative, is going to give us a negative 243, right? Is going to give us a negative 243. So we'll have a negative 243, right? And then we'll have 243. So what are we going to do to get the value of our A? We'll divide both sides by what? 243. We divide both sides by 243. 243 will clear 243 here to give us what? 1. And then we'll have 243 here will clear 243, and then we'll have this to be equal to A multiplied by negative 1. If A multiplies by negative 1, what are we going to have? We're going to have a negative A equal to 1. So if we multiply both sides by negative, A will now be equal to minus 1. So our A is equal to -1. So if our A is equal to -1, we will now have our nth term, that is Tn. Our Tn will now be equal to, remember, our Tn is equal to Arn minus 1. So our first term is equal to -1, right? And then multiply by our common ratio was given to us as -3, all to the power of n minus 1. So if we simplify that, you'll see that we're going to have Tn to be equal to negative times negative, that will give us 3 to the power of n minus 1, and that is the power for Tn. Now let's look at the final one, the final part, that is D. In the D, we are asked to find the value of what? The nth term if the first term is 1 divided by 6 and the common ratio is R. Now let's take the final part, D. So in the D solution, we're going to look at the D solution. We're going to look at the nth term. We don't know what the nth term is, but we are given that our first term is equal to 1 divided by 6 and our common ratio R is equal to 3. So remember that we are asked to look for the first term. We are given the first term and then we have the common ratio. We are asked to look for the nth term. So to find the nth term Tn will be equal to the first time multiplied by the common ratio raised to power n minus what? 1. So the nth term Tn will be equal to first time 1 divided by 6 multiplied by the common ratio 3 multiplied by n minus 1. Now remember that law of indices. From that law of indices, that ax divided by ay can be equal to a to the power of x minus y, right? So if we apply it here, you come to see that that expression Tn will now be equal to 1 divided by 6 multiplied by 3 to the power of n multiplied by 3 to the power of 1, right? And that is exactly divided by 3 to the power of 1, the division sign, because this is what? Division. So our Tn will now be equal to 1 divided by 6 multiplied by, this is going to be equal to 3 to the power of n multiplied by 1 divided by 3, right? So if that gives us 1 divided by 3, so we are going to have all this to be equal to Tn to be equal to 3n divided by 6 multiplied by 3 is 18. So we are going to have Tn to be equal to nth term to be equal to 3 to the power of n divided by 18, and that is the value for the nth term. So you see, finding the nth term of all these values can be very, very simple as long as we know the series of our geometric progression, or the sequence of our geometric progression, and that is exactly what we have given to you from the initial part of this video. I know you did learn a lot from this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with friends and colleagues, and remember to subscribe to our channel for more simplified mathematics solution. Thanks so much for watching, and bye bye for now.